He's only gone and bloody done it! Yeah, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you lot are all doing well. Timo Werner consecutive Man of the Match awards for Chelsea Football Club in the Premier League. Things you love to see. Plot twists all over the gaff with Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea. Jovetic pack in the midfield, Kovacic being amazing, Kepa in goal, Alonso's 16-17 season masterclass. What is happening? Just realised this jacket always makes a sound on the mic. Anyway, I still can't believe Antonio Rudiger is the only professional footballer to score a goal against Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea across all competitions. What a peculiar fate we find ourselves in. Still into the top four. Beautiful scene, soaring up to second place. I'm gonna die on that hill. Manchester United are shaking in their boots, my friends. Anyway, subscribe to Football Therapy if you're new to this channel. Daily content, of course, you might dig it regarding the Blues. So if you do choose to subscribe, hit that bell notifications icon. It's important, and if you want to show your warm and loving embrace to your host Jan, please do drop a like on the video. It really does help me out a lot. As we get into today's match review. Chelsea 2, Newcastle United 0. A clear, concise, another 2-0 win, clean sheet, lots and lots and lots to get into today. Context of the opposition, of course Newcastle aren't the best team in the league, but they've got really good players. Even though Callum Wilson was out, which is a big loss, they've still got good players. Remember, they beat Everton 2-0 recently. They beat Southampton when they were a man down. So context is required. So I'm happy. I'm going to take that. And also, you know, we were due a loss, or one could argue we're due a loss, which hopefully will never come. We're unbeaten across all competitions with Thomas Tuchel, and we're yet to concede a goal from an opposition player. It's really good. Goals scored by Olivier Giroud and Timo Werner. Look, man, he's been playing excellent and he deserved that goal. We're going to get into player performances and run through who played well. And yeah, pretty much everyone played well, except maybe a couple. So let's show you this who scored graphic for some context of who started and how the match went. Stevie Bruce has been playing a little bit more expansive football lately with his 4-back system. Thomas Tuchel went with a 3-4-1-2 as he has been doing recently. Big shock, and the talking factor is, of course, Kepa Arrizabalaga brought back into goal. A positive performance against Barnsley in the Cup, but harsh on Edouard Mendy, who's been very good for Chelsea in the Premier League. The back three consisted of Rudiger, Christensen and Spilicueta as assumed. Hudson-Odoi and Alonso seem to be first choice wing-backs. Jovetic in midfield. Mason Mount in behind Timo Werner and Tammy Abraham, who quickly came off for the goal scorer Olivier Giroud. Now let's talk about this a little bit first. I understand most of this. I understand Kovacic and Jorginho have an immense chemistry in that midfield and they pass so well, and Kovacic just looks absolutely brilliant again. Alonso is looking great. I mean, he dipped a little bit, but he had a great game today. I'm not going through player performances just yet. I'm just talking about the lineup. I understand all of it. I understand Callum Hudson-Odoi, the wingback. I understand everything, but the Kepa Arrizabalaga starting in goal after Mendy's been good for Chelsea this season raised eyebrows. And without going all conspiratorial on this, I do believe it's down to perhaps the people above Tuchel putting a little bit of pressure on him to start Kepa, because remember, Lampard dropped Kepa arguably long after he should have, because people assumed pressure was telling him to play him into form. Marina Granovskaya, I think she's really interested in Chelsea recuperating value on Kepa Arrizabalaga, the world's most expensive goalkeeper. And I want to put this to you. He had a good game today. We will talk about him in player performances in a moment, but he was good under Sarri. I watched so many games at Stamford Bridge when Maurizio Sarri was managing Chelsea. I was there at the shootout, the semi-final, you know, penalty shootout, saviour and all that. But he was good in a high possession team. Good with his feet, you know, and this is a high possession team under Thomas Tuchel. Defend in possession. Maybe he can get good value out of Kepa. It would be harsh on Edouard Mendy, but I think ultimately, in retrospect, bringing him into this game, him making some saves after a good cup game, it's going to heighten his confidence. And even if Mendy comes back in now, it was a good opportunity to heighten the confidence of Kepa. So ultimately, in hindsight, it worked well. So yeah, Tammy Abraham comes off early, an injury. He tried to buy a penalty. Probably should have been a penalty. In fact, Chelsea should have had 2 penalties in this game. One for when Tammy tried to buy the pen and sadly injured himself. In retrospect, you could argue it was his own fault for putting his foot in, trying to win it. And Timo Werner was definitely pushed in the box. He should have had a penalty as well. Anyway, very sad for Tammy Abraham, who actually started the game very brightly. He gets substituted for Olivier Giroud, who of course scores the goal. A lovely piece of move, a positive play from Timo Werner, man of the match by the way, dribbles the ball through, eventually falls back to Olivier Giroud on his preferred left foot in the box, bang bang, 1-0, we move. And then later on, Timo Werner does get his goal to make it 2-0. It's sort of at the far post, he's falling over a little bit, he wraps his foot around it, right place, right time, as all strikers should be after a magnificent game generally, or he goes on to have a magnificent game. Superb, 2-0 Chelsea, we concede very little chances, and when the shots are made, Kepa saves them. So that's a good opportunity to talk about player performances now. Right, Kepa, I think he had one wobbly scary moment where he went for a punch rather than a claim. That's why we all loved Edouard Mendy at first, because he just claims crosses. He did a punch, I had flashbacks of bad Kepa, but it doesn't matter because he had a good game, he was decent with his feet, and he made probably 3 saves, a couple of really good saves in this game. Perfect for his confidence. Well done, Kepa Arrizabalaga. The back 3 weren't really tested, to be honest. I think Azpilicueta was standard 7 out of 10. I think they won aerial duels. Christensen didn't need to sort of showcase his good passing because the ball was just, you know, at best always with Jovicic in midfield. So they were decent, the centre-halves. Hudson-Odoi, really, really good and dynamic. I think he was robbed of a couple of assists in terms of putting the ball through the corridor of uncertainty across the face of goal. He was robbed a couple of assists, but he was very good. And Alonso, good again. Like, he sort of dipped a little bit for a couple of games, but this is like peak 16-17 Antonio Conte title-winning season Marcus Alonso. What can I say? The system suits him perfectly, and although it's sad to see Chilwell on the bench, if we're playing like this, if Alonso's putting in these performances, you just take, you know, you look at our bench, Pulisic, Ziyech, you know, Havertz would have been on the bench, you know, Giroud, there's more Chilwell, Zuma. Our bench, people would have like seen, you know, before Tuchel came in, people would have looked at that bench and been like, who's trolling with this lineup? But it's working, and the tactician professor, Thomas Tuchel, is making it work. So the midfield today was good. Jorginho was very, very good. Kovacic, for me, man of the match in terms of watching him play, but I understand why Timo Werner won it on the sports broadcaster. But yeah, Kovacic was excellent, man. Very, very pleased with him. He's just, if you watch me on Football Therapy over the last 2 years or follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I think he's a magnificent silky footballer, Kovacic. So shout out to him. Mason Mount was probably the worst player on the pitch, which makes a change because he's been, well, for Chelsea anyway, because he's been often our best player on the pitch. He's been so good for us this season, but he looked off the pace. It's almost like being dropped for Barnley. He's like giving him a little, like taking the edge off him. He did get a little bit better before he was substituted, but he was rightly substituted for N'Golo Kante. And yeah, it wasn't, I mean, he didn't drop a disaster class, but by his recent super high standards, he was probably our least effective player on the pitch, Mason Mount. Giroud, great, scored a goal, does what he does best. Wasn't so influential in the game otherwise, probably quite good in our box using his aerial prowess, that was decent. So good, I mean, great. Why not? Giroud, great. And Timo Werner, magnificent, runs till the end. You know, sort of created the chance for Giroud's goal, scored a goal himself, should have had yet another penalty won, and really, really good. So that's player performances. Let's wrap up and talk about this game a little bit more. Here we are, brothers and sisters, top 4, United looking wobbly, we can reel them in. It does seem like, you know, Leicester are definitely in the top 4, no matter what, obviously City as well. Why not aim for the 3rd? I think if Leicester keep playing like that, they'll finish 2nd. But, you know, Man United could fall away here. Like, reel them in. Let's keep playing well. Let's keep confidence. We've got players to come in if there's injuries. Really, really good from Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea. I'm so very impressed and hyped up at the moment. You know, this game was a potential banana skin, as so many games are in the Premier League. We're unbeaten. Only Rudiger scored against Chelsea. We're not free scoring, but we're controlling games and doing professional, pragmatic performances, which is what you need considering the position we were in when Thomas Tuchel came in. So I'm really, really pleased with the performance today and how things are going. I don't feel terrified in games anymore. I mean, Lampard's Chelsea was exciting. We scored a lot of goals, but there was a sort of sensation and feeling of naivety and not being in control. Thomas Tuchel seems to have eliminated that entirely. So I'm very pleased. I hope you guys are too. Let me know your comments and feelings on the game down in the comment section below. Drop a like if you're new. I mean, subscribe if you're new. Drop a like if you want to help me out. Enjoy the football, my friends, and I will see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.